So Microsoft's gone up quite a bit since I last looked at it. It's around $278 now. It was in the 230s. I think we were like so-so on the stock. So we'll have to update their December quarter. So let's take a look at that. We just go to the Microsoft Investor Relations page. There's the boss, Satya Nadella. If you don't know who Satya is, he's the CEO of Microsoft. I was banned from Twitter. If you want to follow me, try Blue Sky. I'm Martin Shkreli on Blue Sky. And then on Substack, you can follow me, both my writing as well as my notes. You got the earnings pregame. All right, so this was Q2. So Microsoft has that weird fiscal year where Q2 is the December quarter. So we're going to get Microsoft's third quarter, if that's not confusing. I don't know what is. Here's the press release. So we expected 57 billion of revenue. It came in at 50, 52, 53 really. So a bit of a miss from what we were thinking. But let's see what the explanations are. Only 2% growth. I was hoping they would have 10% growth. It's a really pitiful growth from Microsoft last quarter. The next major wave of computing is being born as the Microsoft Cloud turns the world's most advanced AI models into a new computing platform. All about AI for Microsoft. But so Cloud went up 18%, so it was 21.5. I actually had it at 22. So Cloud is a little lighter. Again, kind of a weak quarter. Microsoft has still rallied despite the weak quarter. I'm a big Microsoft fan in terms of the company. The stock, I don't confuse those two things. You can love a company and hate a stock, so keep that in mind. All right, so product was like really, really light for Microsoft. Product was down year over year substantially, right? Do you see that? 16.5. I hope you can see this, versus 16.5 versus 20.8. Really pitiful number if you look at that. So kind of staggeringly bad. So what happened last quarter? Services did even better than I thought, slightly better than I thought, which was up 15%. But the total was kind of like this big disappointment here in the product side. So Microsoft divides it into product and service, and it's really difficult to figure out exactly what's what. So like they don't give you exact numbers on, say, like Xbox or something like that. But obviously Xbox goes into product, right? Surface goes into product. But Windows actually goes into product as well, as long as it's the OEM side. In terms of Microsoft, I'm just a fan of the company's success, their management team, their management style. They've done amazing. It's just, you got to give credit where credit's due. Cost of product, cost of services, cost of goods. Okay. And now we have R&D. So I'm guessing that is an uptick from OpenAI. Sales and marketing. And then kind of a bizarre G&A expense growth. Do you see that? G&A doubled, almost doubled. I think that's probably has some one-time item in it. Microsoft's accounting is pretty good. Like they've gotten away from the whole one-time item that you see a lot of other companies do. If you see my cat here in the background, that's my cat Nibbles. She likes to interrupt. All right, so there's the Microsoft Q2. That was last quarter. Do you see how crazy this is? Right, and 20% revenue growth, 18%, 12%, 11, and then 2. And that also, I want to know, does that include acquisition of Nuance? Right, they bought Nuance, and that would have bumped the revenue growth. So, really, really weird quarter for Microsoft last quarter. Just downright bad. Nibbles does like to nibble. She nibbles my toe when it's under the blanket. She's basically a little beast. That's what she is. Okay, so Microsoft added a huge amount of Capex, or PP&E. See, the PP&E grew 5 billion. Before that, it grew 4 billion. Before that, it grew 3 billion. Before that, it grew 4 billion. So the amount of equipment Microsoft has, presumably to run their cloud division, is just rising and rising. All those NVIDIA chips. All right, so Microsoft has a pretty big balance sheet, 364 billion in assets there. A little bit of debt, but a ton of cash, 106 billion in cash. Oh, quite a bit of debt actually. It's like 48 billion in debt, so around 50, 60 billion net cash. What a great career if you could work at Microsoft, right? Wouldn't that be such a good job? Deferred revenue, really important number. Looks really light here. 40 billion. That's up year over year, but I can't say that that's giving me a lot of encouragement. Did Microsoft trade down when this report came out? Anyone want to look that up? This was a really bad quarter, at least in my eyes. Maybe my expectations were just too high and I wasn't accounting for the disastrous recession that was apparently befalling us. Now we're on the cash flow statement. Some people consider it the most important of the three financial statements. I think they're all important. It's like saying which is your favorite kid. All right. So probably the weakest cash flow from operations in quite a while for Microsoft. Mirdita. The systems out there aren't too useful, and if you've ever done this professionally, you don't want to use those systems. Most of the hedge funds I know, you do them from scratch, especially if it's important to you. You can short the market through futures if that's what you're interested in doing. I don't know why you'd want to short the market. All right, repayments of debt, Capex, down here. All right, so 6 billion in Capex, acquisitions, DCF, GPT, absolutely, investments. Yeah, not even GPT can do a DCF, unfortunately, correctly. One day. A lot of buybacks from Microsoft. Dividends. Okay, so we're done here. Again, very weak quarter for Microsoft last quarter. They'd have to sort of have a big comeback to some extent. PE versus hedge funds, they're two very different things, obviously. Private equity, you're buying the whole company and holding on to it. Hedge funds, you're buying parts of companies. There's some overlap in method, obviously, but yeah, really poor free cash flow. But trailing 12-month free cash flow for Microsoft around 60 billion. That probably includes around 10 billion of waste. So maybe you're paying 29 times earnings for Microsoft. Not cheap. That's past earnings, to be fair. So let's see. Let's do that again. But earnings, hey, with 2% revenue growth, how much can earnings be growing, right? So let's see, 60 plus waste is 70, say plus 15% growth is 80. You're still paying a lot, right? 25 times for kind of a slow grower. It's just such a dependable company, but it wouldn't be my first choice as long at that price, even if, OpenAI and their cloud product and even Bing, right, are going to be doing better than expected. And maybe for some time, right? So let's take a look at some of these business divisions. Productivity is about 800 million less than I thought. And cloud was about 500 million less than I thought. And then here was the big miss, more personal computing, about 3 billion off. 3 billion. What a disaster. And I think a lot of people view that business as Microsoft's past. Things like Office OEM, Windows OEM, etc. But still a very profitable and important business for them. So, a little bit kind of concerning. Let's read the press release together. We'll just call out anything that looks interesting. And then let's look up consensus estimates. Okay, so they do have this non-GAAP, but even with the non-GAAP, there's a decrease in earnings. So we mentioned the AI thing, 𝗍𝗓𝗓𝗏, CFO, make sure I have that in here somewhere. CEO. I want to make a whole org chart, like a public org chart of these things. It'd be kind of cool. All right, so there's the severance, hardware-related impairment, and lease consolidation cost of $1 billion. Whatever. All right, revenue and productivity. So this is Office and Cloud, Office Commercial and Cloud, Office Consumer and Cloud, and LinkedIn and Dynamics. So let's see if we can kind of make this a little bit more constructive. Let's do productivity and business processes. So that's Office. Is Teams in there? I think Teams is probably in there. Teams isn't really a big business anyway, but Dynamics is in there. Is GitHub in there? I think GitHub would be in there, right? Dynamics, Office, and so that includes Office 365. Intelligent Cloud is obviously Azure, pretty much. Well, I guess Server too. Yeah, I would think Teams is in here. I'm just going to put a question mark. I would think GitHub and all the programming stuff is in here, but I'll put a question mark. Where do you think Bing goes? I think Bing is probably not in productivity, right? Edge isn't even a business, right? All right, more personal computing. So that's Windows. And that's what was dropping pretty rapidly. Is there a new Windows release coming? So look at that. Windows OEM revenue down 39%. Oof, I'm going to put a note here. Maybe there's just a one-time. It looks like maybe the business is normal. It's just like a one-time boost here. Was there a release? Was that Windows 11? Let's see. Windows OEM down 39%. Windows commercial product and cloud revenue down 3%. Xbox is in here and search is in here. Cool. And of course devices. So we got Xbox, Bing, Surface. And is there still Windows Phone or did they kill it? I think Edge would go in here too. I'm just going to put a question mark. So these are Microsoft's kind of three divisions. I'm going to put OpenAI and Intelligent Cloud as well. I don't even remember what Viva is. So search was up 10%. Xbox was down 12%. Okay, so now we're going to have to listen to the call. That might be a little boring, but it's important. There's Satya Nadella. Apparently there's a chief accounting officer, Alice Jolla. Nope, that's a... Okay, and then Keith Dolliver. That's the deputy GC. And then BPIR is Brett Iverson. Gotta get to know these people. Put their phone numbers down, call them while you can. Hello, Satya, what's up? What's up, dog? Okay, it looks like we got everything else in here in the model. So we're good to go there. Let's look at this product list. Every quarter, Microsoft delivers hundreds of products. Wow. Either as new releases, services, or enhancements. Let's take a look. Viva Engage, introduced storyline. Viva brings people together to connect in communities, discussions, share knowledge, and find belonging at work. Is this like a social media for the workplace? This looks so stupid. It's like an intranet? Yo, oh, it's Yammer. I know Yammer is. but it's not Yammer. Anybody use Viva? Viva replaces Yammer. Okay, got it. So that's going to be in the business and productivity. Yeah, I know they killed Yammer a long time ago. All right, we got Microsoft 365. So I guess that's their new brand for kind of like all the tools. I don't know about this create content like a pro. That sounds like they're going to get into Adobe space. Viva Sales. Okay. Loop. I don't know what Loop is. Oh, there's Clipchamp. Inbox video editing app. I've never tried this. What is Microsoft Loop? That I do need to know. Collaborative, next generation co-creation experience, sick.
Loop is made up of workspaces, pages.
This is Notion. This is 100% Notion.
And components.
I mean, this is cool. Like, I don't personally love the Notion workflow, but, you know, this is a pretty good Notion ripoff. So yeah, this is very similar to an app called Notion. Probably many of you use. Looks like they raised... Notion raised $275 in 2021. 10 billion, sick. Oh, 10 billion valuation. Holy moly. Whew. How do you like me now? Notion doesn't ship that slowly. They shipped AI like very, very quickly. Sequoia, Q2, the usual suspects. I mean, they didn't raise that much money, right? 275 on 10 billion. That'll be a down round. Shine Capital. Never heard of Shine Capital, but there you go. When did they do this deal? That was the like top of the market, right? October 8th, 2021. Pretty much the top. Let's see where their Series B came out. 2 billion. Whoa, so in 1 year the valuation went up 5x. Dude, they've diluted like almost nothing. Like look at this Series B. Do you see this, guys? They raised 50 million at 2 billion. So that means that some of you may not know this. I'm sorry if I have to belabor this. Let me use my trusty Microsoft Paint. Dark mode. That's when I fill with black. So pre-money valuation. So this is a concept in venture investing that basically means what is the company worth before the new investors? Does that make sense? So if you and I decided we're going to start a company, let's call it Nibbles Co. Nibbles and Company, there we go. And we just agree that, okay, we own it 50-50. And we want to sell 1% of Nibbles Co. for $10 million. That means the 99%, right? If each 1% is worth 10 million, the other 99% would be 990 million, right? So a total of 1 billion. So we could say the pre-money for Nibbles Co. is 1 billion. Now I don't think anybody would put money in that because Nibbles Co. isn't a really exciting company. But for Notion, they said the pre-money would be 2 billion. Okay? And then they raised 50 million. So the post money is 2 billion plus 50 million, which is 2.05 billion, right? So now the old investors own 2 0.00 divided by 2.05. Calculate that. 2 divided by 2.05 is 97.6%. The new investors own the rest, right? 0.05 divided by 2.05, just 2.4%. So this is very little dilution, right? If you started this company 50-50, right, you only lost 2.5% of the company to the new investors. And of course you got the 50 million in your bank account, which you could do a lot with. So that's kind of the idea. So the other thing they did was they did the Series C, same idea, where they sold 275 million at 10 billion, a whopping 10 billion pre-money. So 10.275 billion post-money. Old investors own 10 divided by 10.275, which is 97.3%. New investors own 2.7%, right? So they went through both funding rounds and only gave up 2.5% and then 2.7%. So the founders of this company must own, if you ignore the Series A, which we can't ignore, they might own still up to 40%, right? So if there were two co-founders, which I'm not even saying that there are, but just the founders alone would be 95%, investors 5%. Isn't that crazy? We don't know who those founders are. There could be 5 of them, 10 of them, or there could just be one of them. And that person owns 95%, or that group of people, of a $10 billion company. So they're worth about $9 billion. That's the promise of tech. But we haven't looked at the Series A yet, and that's where a lot of the valuation sometimes, a lot of the dilution happens. Okay, so not in this case. So they raised 18 million and 800 million pre-money. So that's only another 2 or 3% dilution. This company has done amazing. And look at these investors. They are now up 10x, right? In just 2 years. They're up, or 3 years, they're up 10x. We've got a couple of venture firms, but also people like 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗚𝗏, who's a very famous investor, Daniel Gross, and a few others. Let's see, let me click and see them all. A couple of smaller venture firms. So amazing how well Notion has done. Let's look at the seed round or angel round. Let's see, the angel round was, Sequoia was in there. A couple of different VCs, Silicon Valley Angels, first round capital. And we don't have a valuation there, so that valuation could have been maybe more dilutive. But again, only raised, it's not even clear what they raised, if any, what they raised at all. And there was only one investor in the seed round. So my guess is the founders of this company are mega billionaires. We got 𝗥𝗘𝗢𝗢𝗏, 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗞, I messed that one up. Who's the CEO? Oh, Ivan Zhao. Usually Ivan is a Russian name, right? Ivan Zhao, multi-zillionaire now. Just kind of came out of nowhere. And interesting, they founded the company in 2013, it looks like. So it's not been an overnight success. Here he is on Twitter, 34K followers. CTO Simon Last. Pretty incredible, huh? Some people, one person, Cassie, is saying Notion is negative productivity. That's really funny. I personally don't like Notion, don't use it. I get it. It's not bad, I think. It's just not my cup of tea. It's kind of cool because you can kind of create like a fairly rich document that's very easy to share, but it's somewhere between like Microsoft Word or Google Docs and like HTML. That's kind of what makes it decent, I think. Yeah, really interesting to see some of these really successful startups, Notion, Rippling, Flexport, Stripe, a bunch of these kind of like super startups that are actually doing really well, make money. Some of those companies I mentioned. Software unicorn startups. Here we go. Let's look at a couple more. Hey, upgrade now. I thought I had Crunchbase Pro. Oh well. ID.me. Has anybody heard of that one? I haven't heard of any of these. Let's see. Navan? What the heck is Navan? Navin? 2 billion? Jeez. Microsoft. Let me actually make some tweaks because the cash changed a little bit and the shares outstanding changed a little bit. All right, cash is 106,605. Debt is 48,116. Okay. Shares 74.73. More or less. Okay, 278.93. Same thing. 422. Last update 425. NPV, like almost exactly the same price as the stock price. 28 times enterprise value to earnings. Really expensive. All right, let me close this out so I can upload it to GitHub for all y'all that want to go on GitHub.